No, I mean, I'm looking at it from a completely different point of
Yeah,
view.
got it.
I'm trying to be a little like,
cheeky.
Yeah. But if you, I guess if I had, I was trying to think of something a little fun for the podcast, but
you could be surfing, you could be hanging out.
Think about it.
Do you have weekends off?
Now that, you got to live in India, so that's not, that's probably not the, ideal situation either. But if you're going to ask me in terms of the world that Bond creates,
that's where you go.
That wouldn't be a bad one, man.
Who would be the worst one to work for?
The worst one? Oh, I think it'd be easily Silva from Skyfall. Yeah. That dude just
he killed that poor lady, and then Bond's like, you wasted scotch. Like, Silva, man, he doesn't care about henchmen.
No.
He wouldn't even, I don't think he would even put up henchmen in a nice place.
No, that's even the bigger question is, like, when you see certain villains, like, how do henchmen become henchmen? Like, what, I mean, in a sense, like, at what point, if you're working for Silva, I mean, are they like in the
How do you get in front of him?
and you're on that crazy little, city island that he took over, but even more so, it's, you're in it with a couple henchmen in the break room. Like, aren't you talking like, dude, man, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
This is like, this.
Silva's gonna kill me.
Yeah, we're going nowhere here. I mean, there's no career advancement.
We're out of coffee.
Yeah, Silva would definitely be at the top of that list.
Robert Davi would be good too, because if you think about Benicio del Toro in the Living Daylights.
No. That was License to Kill.
License to Kill.
Living Daylights was in Afghanistan.
Got it. So he would be pretty good because he seemed to trust his henchmen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Bond was able to very smartly get into that organization. Wayne Newton somehow got to be part of that organization, and Benicio del Toro. Robert Davi would be a good one to work for too.
Are you a bad guy? Yeah. Are you part of the crew? Sweet. Like, here's a suit. Awesome.
Yeah. What's great about Davi, man, is that what I love is villains that don't really perceive themselves as villains. Like, Robert Davi is like just kind of like the head of the mob in Isthmus City for all intents and purposes, and the bank was just the government controlled bank was really just his ability to launder money.
Yeah.
And he just viewed it as, a business, like a cartel owner or something to that effect. Like, I'm not doing anything right or wrong. I'm providing services, products for the people. So I always loved Robert Davi in that movie because he never viewed himself as good or bad. He just viewed himself as a guy, that was selling a product, and violence was part of his career. Little known fact, did you know Robert Davi, first Bond villain ever to wear pink in a Bond movie?
That's pretty interesting.
You're welcome. That is true.
I like that a lot.
He wore a pink button down.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You figured Walken would have been that one.
You would think. There's some other ones that you think could have done that, but yep.
The location was where?
Technically Isthmus City, but he wore that's when Bond woke up at his house.
He had pink on?
And let me tell you something. If you want to go down into Bond villain homes, Robert Davi is definitely in the top 3. That was one of the all-time great pads.
I mean, I'm switching this as just like a violent henchman role.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could chill. Like, if you fail, he's not going to shoot you. You're not in a volcano. You're not, I mean, you have good odds in India on this beach with these women, but you're also, you're probably not looked at real well. You're probably just playing the odds. Like, probably pretty boring out there. But here, you're kind of trusted.
And you're trusted, and you think about it, outside of Bond coming into Isthmus City, for all intents and purposes, he ran that country. So you're a henchman, but no one's messing with you.
Yeah, exactly. No one's going to look at you and go, you're just a henchman.
Right. You're working for the most powerful guy, and you're probably almost never going to be put in a position where you're going to die, because you're always in the most powerful position unless Bond comes to town.
And kills everyone else, and it's just down to the 3 of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm going to send my other henchman on a jet ski chase. I'm not going to be on this, because I'm too trusted to be wasted in a jet ski chase.
Right. But yeah, I mean, Living Daylights is another one that gets kind of marked down, and I think that's truly one that should be at the in the top 10. I think The Living Daylights is the whole Florida Keys sequence where he wraps the Cessna with Robert Davi in it and like hooks it. Then they parachute to Felix Leiter's wedding.
That's cool.
You know, and then the shark eating scene of Felix Leiter is in that movie. That's a very underrated movie.
Was that why was Dalton was liked though? These movies had solid reviews.
Yes, you know, and that was they had really, you know, the Rock of Gibraltar is where the, you know, it started. The problem I think that people had was Dalton, who was considered to be an earlier Bond when Roger Moore was kind of thinking about calling it quits. I think
Moore's book is good, by the way.
Yeah, Dalton.
He was different. He was kind of smiley. He had a different. He wasn't.
He really tried to be he's the only one that really came close to the book version of Bond.
Oh wow,
I would say, and that Connery tried to be that Bond, but some people have the it factor to them. Connery does, and he just was so magnetic a personality that he just took over, like whatever Bond was in the book, this guy is 10 times better. I want to be that guy.
Got it.
Dalton was almost like an everyman. Great actor, but he was almost like an everyman kind of Bond, and I think that Roger Moore...
They don't want that.
Yeah, Connery and Moore were larger-than-life types of characters. Dalton wasn't. And then you come back with Brosnan, who was this larger...
Suave, and then God.
Craig, yeah, I mean, you have to have... That's why, you know, when people always ask me about... How would I have felt about Idris Elba being Bond? And, you know, people get into this, oh, you know, Bond's a white guy, this, that, and the other. And I go, I understand that. But I go...
He has it.
He has... Whatever it is, Idris Elba has whatever Daniel Craig has, whatever Pierce Brosnan has. You're not looking at a African-American actor. You're just looking at a brilliant dude on screen. To me, it's colorblind.
I'd have been all for it.
Yeah, and if you can find the right African-American, or even to some extent the right woman, like, I'd be interested in it.
People are looking at Henry Golding now from Crazy Rich Asians and Simple Favor. Like, people are throwing those names. Like, but I think if you're right, if you have that, if they're good, they're good.
They're good. Obviously, I think Elba's window has passed. I think he's
in his 50s, maybe. Right?
He's a little older, but he still gets the question, which I think he
plays it up. He plays it up a lot.
I mean, he just got named People's Sexiest Man of the Year, but
nice.
I think it would have been, if the windows were different. I think Elba would have really transcended the role. And done a lot of good.
Because he has a physicality.
Oh, yeah.
He has the line readings. I mean, like,
and he's got men want to have to be you, women want to be with you.
Yep.
You know, you have to have that. And I don't know if Dalton, I think that was his one. I don't think women, when they saw Timothy Dalton, were just like compelled, like, oh my God, like a Connery or Moore. Craig, Brosnan especially.
It's funny you say this because I was teaching my class about the 60s, and I was teaching about the 10 most influential films of the 1960s. That's another one of our podcasts. You should listen to it. But I was talking about Dr. No, and so he was one of the first characters who shot and killed. Like, so the guy pulled the gun on him, like, how many bullets do you have left? And he just wastes the guy, even though he has none. And they was in all these locations, and so, like, women were like, I love Sean Connery, but guys were like, because during the 60s, there was, like, the everyman hero. You had, High Noon, like in the 50s, and those kind of films.
Yeah, the anti-heroes almost.
And then you have, just like the good, charming Western heroes and those kind of people. But then here's Bond all rakish and suave and like betting money and like betting women and shooting people and like in cold blood because he had a license to kill. That was a new type of character and people fell in love with that. So it's pretty interesting that you say that because that's in the 60s. That was what blew him up, is because of that character was like that.
Everything comes down to casting that singular character, and you have to give the Broccolis credit. They took a
blonde Bond,
took a chance on Daniel Craig, and it's kind of funny now. It's going to be interesting to see in Bond 26 who they do select, because the pressure's going to be on, because they really raised the bar and took a risk with Craig, and it worked in an unbelievable way.
I want Tom Hardy. It'd be a weird Bond, but it would be more like a Dalton Bond. But also, what people are saying now? Richard Madden. He was on a show called The Bodyguard on Netflix. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it, yes.
Got nominated for a bunch of Golden Globes, but now, after that show came out, he went to #1 the bookies have that you can take bets. And he's number 1 to be Bond now. Richard Madden.
That's interesting.
So I guess I want to watch that Bodyguard because he's number 1 right now. Because that show is like 98% Rotten Tomatoes. Huge. Like my mom sent me a message. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. She doesn't speak like that. My mom speaks like this. But so that's what they're saying it is now.
You know, it's funny that movie, the show, The Bodyguard. The reason I was initially like, it's like anything without any information, you can make bad decisions. I wasn't initially interested in it because I thought it was like some sort of Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston, some sort of like continuance. And I was like, I had no interest in that movie, much less anything that would be a continuance of it. Literally making a decision with zero information at my disposal other than the title of the show.
I didn't even know what it was about, but I guess it's about a guy who is working with he was a former soldier, is working with a woman who's kind of like she's more liberal and he was like a soldier, so they're completely different, but he has to protect her, and then things go crazy, then he has to go like full suave Bond and like save the day. So they're saying that's who's it. So let's get back to Quantum of Solace here. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on with this movie? Is there anything that you kind of wanted to get out in regards to this film? I thought that general was gross. I guess he did his job. The Bolivian general. Mm-hmm. The whole scene where he told that waitress to go into a room so he could just do horrible, like, and then the whole fight like that. I don't know, man. Am I becoming too sensitive? Because I felt that scene was just kind of gross. Like,
it's what made it even more gross is that the hotel is like seemingly empty and she's like the only female in the building.
Yeah.
Which made it even like feel even more disturbing. And I think to some extent what makes it even more disturbing is what if Bond didn't show up that day?
Horrible.
Yeah. So you're not wrong. It's definitely like as soon as you see her, as soon as he says, bring my drink to my room.
Yeah.
It's cringy.
And like the whole, like, you know, Trevelyan, well, this is just a side guy, but like 006 never really did that. Like, you don't need, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. The dude felt, I mean, maybe that's good that he just felt gross, but I just never felt.
Well, even in Skyfall, the woman who, you know, her name is escaping me, but she was the one that got the
shot, the McCallum.
She has a short role in the film. She was clearly, and Bond even speaks to it, in the sex trade.
Yeah.
But they didn't, it was heartfelt and sad, whereas in Quantum of Solace, it was cringy.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure the producers and the directors will argue that's what they wanted.
Yeah, they wanted him to be the villain.
Yeah, they wanted him to be just this, you know, completely abhorrent animal person. And when you only have so many scenes.
I guess that Olga saves her. So then that's kind of like a retribution because she couldn't save her family.
Right. So, you know, maybe there's some...
I guess that makes sense when you put it in that context.
Right.
But and then also, what did you think about Gemma Arterton's role, Strawberry Fields?
I hate the name. I felt like for a movie that was trying to be truly serious, and that was a nod to, just her name itself was a nod to like Bonds in the past.
Yeah.
And I felt it was very out of place.
And then he walks into the room and she just immediately like falls for him. And like that, if he's so depressed, and then just like, whenever he's Bond, he has to, you know, you've seen the SNL sketches about his STD test. But I guess you have to have that scene, but it just felt like a throwaway role for her character.
It did.
Like she's plucky because she trips people, but then she gets murdered. I'm
not going to lie to you, the scene where she tries to go into the hotel and Bond is like, we're not staying here. She's like, oh, this fits our cover. We're teachers on holiday. And then they go to this, like, you know, whatever the Ritz-Carlton is of Bolivia. He pulls in there and he goes, hi, we're teachers on holiday that just won the lottery. Yeah. I don't know. I felt that was kind of like, that was like a cool Bond moment in the movie for
that shows some personality.
Yeah. Like, you know, he was just like, no matter, I guess why I loved it is no matter wherever Bond got in his mental capacity, he still had standards.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm not staying in this.
I am not staying here.
I think they didn't need that role, though. They could have brought in Olga maybe Olga ends up there again, like sooner.
Right.
Like they could have not focused less on her and then brought in Olga. I mean, I know I keep saying Olga Kurylenko, but that could have been,
Here's what I think may have happened. Bond needed to bed a woman. And it wasn't going to be Camille because that would have made no sense whatsoever.
None.
So
we just need to hit this.
what do we do?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what it was.
I guess that goes back to our whole thing with like I want a fight scene in Air, Wind, and Fire.